Hello everyone, I Mukesh Tiwari welcome everybody in Smart Exam Academy. This is going to be the second video on the first war of independence 1857. In the last video, that is the first video, we had discussed about the introduction of the revolt of 1857, that is the first war of independence. We had also discussed about the different causes, in which we had discussed about the political cause and the socio-religious causes. But in this video, we are going to understand about the military causes and the immediate cause for the revolt of 1857, that is the first war of independence. We will also have a detailed discussion about the consequences of the first war of independence. In this video, we will have a detailed discussion about the military cause and the economic cause and the consequences of the first war of independence with the excellent notes and the guidance. So let's begin. So welcome back in the Smart Exam Academy, and we are going to discuss about the second part of the first war of independence. If you have not seen the first part of this video, I will request everyone to watch that video first. Economic cause. So far we have discussed about the political cause, and the socio-religious cause, and this is going to be the economic cause of the first war of independence. The British rule was making India poorer day by day because they were exploiting India economically. The economic system of our country was being diminished day by day by the activities of the British Empire. Because of the exploitation of the British Empire, the peasants, artisans, and the crafts and the handicrafts industry of India became ruined, because India was made a colonial country. India was made as a colonial country by the British Empire. It was mere an agrarian colony, as well as it was also a market. How can we tell that India was a source of agrarian colony as well as the market? The main motive of the British Empire to rule over India was that India was a source of mines. And the mineral resources, and it was also an agrarian economy, agrarian country. So the British people were taking the mines and the agricultural resources back to their country, and after making it a finished products, they were again selling those cheap goods into the Indian market. So India was also an agrarian agrarian colony of the British Empire, as well as India was also working as a source of market where the British made goods were sold into the Indian market, and the Indian peasants, artisans, and the handicraftsmen could not stand with the cheap British made products. The British made products were cheap and more fine. So the Indian products could not stand in front of the British made cheap products. It was a machine made products after the invention of the Industrial Revolution. So the second point is also telling the same. The British sold cheap machine made goods into India, which destroyed the Indian cottage industries and also left millions of craftsmen unemployed. Because of the wrong policy of the British Empire, India was getting poorer day by day, and the peasants, artisans were losing their work. So I hope everybody has been able to understand. Write down these points. We are moving to the next point. The Britishers also imposed heavy duties on the Indian made products. Again, the Indian made products like the cotton, like the cotton cloth, and the pottery, had great demand in the European market. Spices, they had great demand into the European market, but in order to save their British market, the British imposed ban on the entry of Indian goods. That means Indian goods cannot entry into the British market, as well as they were allowed to sell their cheap goods into the Indian market. So they were making profit into the two way. On the one side, the Indian made products, were not allowed to enter into the European market, and on the other side, the British people were selling the cheap goods into India. So the British people were making a double kind of a profit. So I hope everybody has able to understand. The British imposed heavy duties on the Indian made products, and they were selling the cheap products into the Indian market. So let's move. The permanent settlement. A permanent settlement also was responsible for the misery of the peasants. The peasants were also not happy. The peasants under the permanent settlement lost their hereditary right. Earlier, what was happening, the peasants were enjoying the land for the period of time, for their families. But under the permanent settlement, the peasants lost their hereditary right. So the British were mainly responsible for the permanent settlement, and the permanent settlement led to impoverishment of the peasants, because the peasants had to pay 1/10 of the entire produce to the British Empire. Otherwise, the peasants will lose their land. So the permanent settlement was also important, which led to the impoverishment of the people, and this permanent settlement also made our India poor. Another one is the indigo cultivation. The indigo cultivation. Indigo is mainly responsible for coloring the cotton cloths. If the cotton cloths are colored, it would last for a longer period of time, and indigo had a great demand into the European market. Indigo had great demand in the European market. So the British were emphasizing the Indian agriculturalists to grow cotton. But on the other side, the Indian peasants were facing the hardship, because it was a subsistence agriculture. If the Indian peasants grow cotton, so what they will eat? It was also another question. So Indian farmers were doing agriculture of the eatable items only, but indigo was a cash crop which was mainly grown for the profit, and on the other side, the British people were also not giving much money. So if the agriculturalists will grow indigo, so what they will eat? And on the other side, they were not getting a profitable money. So their condition was becoming bad day by day. The condition of the small farmers were becoming bad day by day. So it was also another economic cause for the revolt of 1857. Dinabandhu Mitra wrote Neel Darpan. Neel Darpan is actually a book written by Dinabandhu Mitra, in which he has explained about the condition of indigo farmers. I hope everybody has been able to understand. So let's move to the next point. Next one is the military cause. military was also unhappy. So altogether you can tell that the people, the army, the higher caste, the lower caste people, everybody was unhappy with the British Empire. So let's move about the military cause. Ill treatment of the Indian soldiers. The Indian soldiers were also badly behaved by the British people. The British people were dishonoring the Indian soldiers, and they were treated badly. The Indian soldiers were treated badly by the European officers. There was a huge gap between Indian soldiers and the European soldiers. Indian soldiers and the European soldiers. European soldiers. The Indian soldiers were enjoying less prestige and the European soldiers were enjoying high prestige. Their salary was high. The salary of the European soldiers were high. Their promotion was also high. But Indian soldiers' salary was also very low. The promotion was also very low. And they were dishonored. The Indian soldiers were dishonored. So here the low in the salary, deprivation of the allowances Indian soldiers were getting were also very low. Another thing, the chances of the promotion. Hardly the Indian soldiers can become a Subedar. But beyond Subedar, Indian soldiers were not giving the promotion. We are not getting the promotion. European soldiers can go to the higher rank. Higher rank was reserved for the European soldiers only. The Indian soldiers cannot enjoy the higher rank. Beyond Subedar, the Indian soldiers cannot get promoted. So the salary of the Indian soldiers was low, the promotion was low, and another thing, the Indian soldiers were dishonored by the European soldiers. Indian soldiers were treated as a second class soldiers, and European soldiers were enjoying higher status. Indian soldiers were enjoying lower status. So here in the 4 point you can see, you can write down, these are the main points of the economic the military cause. The 4 main cause were the military cause. So let's move. General Service Enlistment Act. It was based on the religion, because there was some religious ground. The Indian soldiers, after the enactment of this act, Indian soldiers has to cross the sea, which was against the rule of the Hindu society. In Hindu society, it is said that if anybody is crossing the sea, he will lost his religion, or he will become impure. He will not be holy, he will be impure. But according to this law, the Indian soldiers were also required to cross the sea to serve the British Empire overseas, into the different continents, into the different countries. The Indian soldiers had to serve the British Empire. They have to do their duty. So the Indian soldiers were also very unhappy. They were very upset. Next one, I hope everybody has able to understand this point. So let's move to the next one. Larger proportion of Indians into the British Army. In India, in Delhi, the European soldiers were not all. This Delhi was ruled by, or it was controlled by, Indian British Army. European soldiers were not there. No European soldiers were there in Delhi. So if we talk about the whole India, the European soldiers were very less. Here you can see 45,000 322 were the British soldiers, and you can see how many Indian soldiers were there. 2,38,000 Indian soldiers were working in the British Army. So the number of the British Army was very low, and this was also another cause for the revolt of 1857. The Indian soldiers thought that we are high in numbers. If we do a revolt, the European soldiers would not be able to protest this. Another one, faulty distribution of the troops. Only, as I have said, Delhi and Allahabad had no British army, and it was held only by Indian soldiers. So in the Delhi and Allahabad there were no British soldiers, only Indian soldiers were there. Next, poor performance of the British troops. During that time, the record of the British troops was also not happy. In the Afghanistan war, the British soldiers were badly defeated. So Indian people thought that if Afghanistan can defeat the British people, we can also defeat the British people. So it was a kind of an encouragement, and inspired by this ideology, inspired by this thing, the Indian soldiers revolted against the British Empire. So you can write down, these are the main points. So let's move. Now the consequences. What were the consequences of the revolt of 1857? What were the main consequences? The first consequence was the end of the rule of the East India Company. Queen Victoria in 1858 issued a proclamation which told about the transfer of power from the East India Company to the British Crown. So India came under the control of the British Crown. The British Crown began to control the Indian subcontinent. So the rule of the company, East India Company, ended. So another one, Queen Victoria's proclamation. As I have recently said, that Queen Victoria issued a proclamation which declared that company rule would be over. And during that time, as I have said in the last video, that Lord Canning, he was the last Governor General of India. Last Governor General. At that time he was the Governor General of India. So he became the first Viceroy and Governor General. The Viceroy and the Governor General of India. So the doctrine of lapse was also abolished, that no further territorial expansion would happen by the British in India. So let's move. I hope that everybody has been able to understand. End of the Peshwaship and the Mughal rule. After the revolt of 1857, the Peshwa rule ended. Nana Sahib went to Nepal, and what happened to him? What happened to him is unknown in history. Nobody knows. Bahadur Shah Zafar was sent to Rangoon at the age of 82, and his sons were died. He was shot dead by the British army. So it was the end of the Peshwaship and the Mughal rule, because the last Mughal emperor was Bahadur Shah Zafar. He died in Rangoon, and his successors were also killed. Next one, the policy of divide and rule. The British people came to know that the revolt of 1857 happened because of the Hindu-Muslim unity. So the British people thought that we have to break the Hindu-Muslim unity anyhow. So the British followed the policy of the divide and rule. That means we have to divide the Hindus and the Muslims. we have to create a division between Hindus and Muslims, that Hindus and Muslims will fight with each other, and our rule is very easy. If they are fighting with each other, we can rule them. The British Empire can rule them very easily. So it was another consequence of the revolt of 1857. So what we have discussed, Queen Victoria's proclamation was the first one, end of the company's rule, second one, end of the Peshwaship and the Mughal Empire, third one, the policy of divide and rule was the fourth one. So let's move to the next. So you should write down all these points, are very important, which will give you 100% marks in the exam. So write down these points. In a very brief language, I have written the points. Changes in the army. As I have said that in Delhi, no British army was there. So after the revolt, the number of the European soldiers increased from 45,000 to 65,000, and the Indian soldiers were reduced from 2,38,000 to 1,40,000. So it was another change that happened after the revolt of 1857. Let's move. Economic exploitation. Economic exploitation also increased. India became a colony, a true colony, because the British started the policy of economic exploitation more harsher. The peasants, rural artisans were impoverished under the British rule. Next one is the economy of India became more poorer. The people became more poorer, even more after India was transferred into the British Crown. So it is I think everybody has understood this point. So the next one is the religious cause. As I have said in the last video that Indian temple and the mosque were put under taxation. So after the revolt, Queen Victoria declared that British would not interfere into the religious matter of the Indian people. India was declared free in terms of the religion. Free in terms of the religion. The Indian people can practice their religion. The British Empire would not tell anything on the religious matter, and the British Empire would not impose any kind of tax on the mosque and the temples. I hope you have understood. Write down these points. Next, rise of the nationalism. So after the revolt of 1857 was also the rise of the nationalism. The concept of India and the Indian people came after the revolt of 1857. They unitedly, Indian people unitedly fought against the foreign enemy. Unitedly, both Hindus and the Muslims became united, and they fought against the British Empire in the name of the India, to save Indian motherland, to save Indian motherland. So the idea of the Indian motherland came after the revolt of 1857. So the sacrifices of Rani Lakshmibai, Nana Sahib, Mangal Pandey, etc. became a cause of inspiration for the people for many years. Still, we remember the name of Rani Lakshmibai, Mangal Pandey and Nana Sahib with great respect. Still, they are the cause of inspiration for Indian people. So these are the main consequences and the military cause. I hope that you have understood everything, and I have been able to make you understand with my simple languages. If you have not, if you could not understand anything, you can mail me. I will also give the email ID, or you can revise the video and see once again. So till that, thank you for watching the video. Thank you for being with us and watching the video. This is my email ID. If you want to ask any question, you can directly contact me on this email ID. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more and more updates. Thank you.